The Star Beast is probably one of the most important episodes of Doctor Who in that not only is it an anniversary special, but it marks effectively a reboot of the series after a long hiatus and the dwindling viewership and interest during the Jodie Whittaker era. It also sees the return of David Tennant as the Doctor along with Russell T Davies, who helmed the show during the height of its popularity in the mid to late 2000s, and as such this is probably the most widely anticipated Doctor Who has been in quite a while. Consequently, there was a lot of pressure riding on this episode to deliver. It's not like, say, Legend of the Sea Devils, where it was like, yes, that was trash, but does it really matter at this point? Most people have already switched off. So with all of that in mind, does the Star Beast live up to the hype? Well, for the most part it is pretty entertaining, but unfortunately it all unravels in the third act. In keeping with tradition, the 60th anniversary specials were penned by the showrunner Russell T Davies. However, the Star Beast gives an additional credit to Pat Mills and Watchmen illustrator Dave Gibbons due to the episode being a loose adaptation of the 1980s comic strip of the same name starring the Fourth Doctor. That means we get to see both Beep the Meep and the Wharf Warriors translated onto the screen, and the Meep in particular is very well realised with some excellent practical effects work. It also helps that Miriam Margolyes is really hamming it up and throwing everything into her performance, both when playing the cute innocent persona in the first act and then later on as the villain. Although arguably somewhat predictable, the twist of Beep the Meep being evil is pretty well executed, with a neat reference to the Tom Baker era and a subversion of the plot armor trope. As it turns out, the fact the Wharf Warriors are seemingly unable to hurt the Doctor or any of the others at such close range is actually very intentional. We also get to meet Shirley, who is UNIT's new scientific advisor and who has rockets firing out of her wheelchair, and that's all pretty cool. However, the real emotional weight of the story comes not from the Star Beast plot, but from the Doctor's reunion with Donna, which happens almost immediately. There's no partners in crime style shenanigans this time. We're straight into David Tennant and Catherine Tate being an iconic duo like it's 2008 again. And as much as I have been cynical and remain cynical about the blatant nostalgia pandering, I must admit it is great fun seeing them together again. Even though she doesn't remember the Doctor at first, the chemistry between them is clearly still very much there from the beginning. We also get introduced to Donna's daughter Rose, more on her in a minute, and we get to see the rest of her family, who are all really great to watch. For me, Sylvia Noble is the really strong breakout character. It's nice to see the subtle character evolution, as she appears to have mellowed out somewhat and developed more of a healthy relationship with both Donna and her granddaughter since we last saw her. One particular highlight is the whole farce that develops when she is desperately trying to deny the existence of the Meep to Donna, even though the Meep is right there in front of them. It does, however, beg the question of why the Doctor is seemingly so unconcerned about the possibility of triggering Donna's memories. It could be that he knows the same defense mechanism will kick in from the end of time and she won't be in any real danger until he starts reciting the secret code thing, but if that's the case then it really needed to be explained, otherwise it just comes off like the Doctor as being reckless. Speaking of that ending, the way that Donna gets to keep her memories without any consequences, essentially because of a bit of technobabble, is really unsatisfying, because as I stated in my initial reaction, it not only undermines Donna's original departure, but it devalues the stakes of the show, as you know anything that happens from now on, no matter how tragic, can just be reversed at a later date. It's very similar to the problem Moffat had with repeatedly bringing back companions after killing them off, as well as undoing the destruction of Gallifrey. Having said all of that though, there is a way this ending could have been more satisfying, and this is where we need to talk about Rose Noble, because the more I think about it, she is the key to why the resolution of the Star Beast doesn't work. You see, the big reveal of the story is that the meta-crisis has been passed down from Donna into her daughter, hence why she is still alive. And while the logic of that might be a bit sketchy, the neat thing about fiction is you can make just about anything seem plausible and satisfying so long as you lay the groundwork logistically or thematically beforehand so that it feels like something is being paid off, and the Star Beast almost does this. There's a vague moment of foreshadowing where Rose talks about feeling like she's from another planet, followed by a line at the end where she says, "After all these years, I'm finally me." It's a character arc of identity and self-discovery which thematically parallels her being transgender in a way that is really quite elegant. The only problem is it feels like around the middle there is a chunk of her story missing, like the fact she is the one who first discovers the Meep and yet there is not so much as a single shot showing her reaction to the Meep turning evil. Then there's the weird bit of technobabble toward the end that seems to suggest Rose is non-binary, even though that was never indicated before and Yasmin Finney, the actor who plays her, is a trans trans woman. Honestly, I think Russell T Davies just wanted to do something clever with the binary line from Journey's End and didn't take the time to think the implications of it through. By far the worst thing about the payoff though is the montage of toys in Rose's shed that resemble Doctor Who monsters. You might have been able to get away with that back in the days before streaming, but now anyone can go back and rewatch the episode and see that none of those toys were present at any point before the reveal, and then it just feels like you've been cheated. This is not how you do storytelling. You have to show the toys in an earlier scene. Otherwise it's like the equivalent of telling a murder mystery without letting the audience see any of the clues before the killer is revealed. It just isn't satisfying, and as a consequence, when Donna gets to keep all of her memories, it does not feel earned. I can't help but wonder if there was an earlier draft of the script that had more focus on Rose's arc, but because of pressure from Disney or whatever reason, those scenes were cut so that we could have more screen time with David Tennant and Catherine Tate. It honestly wouldn't surprise me, and it would track with the broader problem Doctor Who has at the moment of pandering to nostalgia above all else and at any cost, even at the expense of its own storytelling. I mentioned earlier how I did enjoy seeing the 14th Doctor and Donna together again, but the thing about nostalgia is it's like a kid eating a bowl of sweets. Sure, it might taste good in the moment, but it will make your teeth rot, and I still fear that is what is going to happen to Doctor Who if it continues on its current trajectory. I'm Midnight, and I travel in time and space. And trains. If you would like to support this channel, don't forget to head over to my eBay store Colt Coven, where I sell books, media and other nerdy things. Send me a message with your order and you can even get a shout out in a future video. Thank you.